Despite having no access to modern healthcare or supplements, the Amish are outliving the average American. A fascinating reality, especially as US life expectancy continues to decline. While many of us chase the latest health fads or trendy superfoods, the Amish stick to a simple, natural way of eating that seems to deliver better results than all our modern interventions. Their food choices might hold some valuable lessons for anyone looking to improve their health without expensive treatments or gimmicks. There's an old saying in Amish country that perfectly captures their priorities. The garden is always bigger than the house. While most of us struggle to keep a few herbs alive on our windowsills, the Amish transform their backyards into lush, thriving food paradises. But this isn't just about having a green thumb. It's about survival, health, and a way of life that's endured for generations. When an Amish family sits down to dinner, their plates look vastly different from what most Americans are used to. Instead of a giant piece of meat dominating the meal with a tiny side of vegetables, they load up with 2 to 3 cups of vegetables at each sitting. And we're not talking about just 1 or 2 varieties. Their meals often include 3 or 4 different vegetables. Cabbage, carrots, green beans, potatoes, squash, and beets are common staples. The portions are hearty too. By modern standards, most Americans would probably think they were looking at a week's worth of vegetables on an Amish dinner plate. Yet, this approach, focused on variety, balance, and unprocessed whole foods, might just be one of the secrets to their longevity and overall health. It's not fancy, it's not trendy, but it's proven to work, and that's something worth paying attention to. The impact of this veggie-heavy diet is nothing short of remarkable. Studies show that eating at least 3 servings of vegetables daily can reduce the risk of heart disease and certain cancers by 40%. It's like having a natural insurance policy, except instead of paying premiums, you're just eating your greens. The fiber keeps their digestive systems running smoothly, while the vitamins and antioxidants give their immune systems a serious boost. Take Sarah, an 80-year-old Amish woman who still tends to her own garden. She insists she feels like she's in her 60s, and judging by her energy levels, it's hard to argue. While many of us are on our 3rd cup of coffee just to survive the afternoon, Sarah is out there pulling carrots and harvesting cabbage like it's no big deal. And here's the thing, she's not an exception in her community. These stories are everywhere in Amish country. But the real magic isn't just in the vegetables themselves, it's in how fresh they are. Most Amish families eat vegetables that were in the ground just hours before they land on their dinner plates. Compare that to supermarket produce, which might spend days or even weeks traveling and sitting on shelves before it reaches your plate. The difference in nutrient content is staggering. Fresh vegetables can contain up to 40% more nutrients than their long-traveled counterparts. It's a simple, old-fashioned approach to eating, but it's one that seems to be doing wonders for their health and longevity. Maybe it's time we all took a page from their book and started giving our vegetables the spotlight they deserve. And you know what's fascinating? The Amish have mastered clever, time-tested ways to make sure they never waste a single vegetable from their gardens, relying on preservation techniques that might surprise you. Forget fancy probiotic supplements. You won't find those in Amish homes. What you will find, though, are kitchens brimming with jars of bubbling, fermenting foods. While many of us pay premium prices for kombucha or trendy health drinks, their principle is as simple as it is practical. If it doesn't ferment, it doesn't last. Every Amish kitchen tells a story through its collection of fermented foods. Jars of sauerkraut line the countertops, homemade pickles are stored in cool cellars, and crocks of kimchi bring spice and variety to their meals. Preservation is a big part of the process, of course. It's essential when you're living off the land. But for the Amish, fermented foods are more than just a way to make vegetables last. They're an integral part of their daily diet. Most families consume fermented foods with every meal, usually a few tablespoons to half a cup at a time. The science behind this tradition is fascinating. Fermented foods are packed with probiotics, beneficial bacteria that transform ordinary vegetables into gut health powerhouses. And here's the kicker. We're not talking about the kind of probiotics you get in those tiny yogurt cups from the supermarket. A single serving of homemade sauerkraut can contain more beneficial bacteria than an entire bottle of probiotic pills. Here's something that might surprise you even more. These fermented foods don't just improve gut health, they contribute to a stronger immune system, better digestion, and even enhanced mood. It's an age-old practice that's not only practical, but also incredibly effective, making you wonder if modern health trends are really just catching up with what the Amish have known all along. Studies published in the Journal of Nutrition have shown that eating fermented foods just 3 to 4 times a week leads to remarkable improvements in gut health. But the benefits go far beyond digestion. Scientists are uncovering that a healthy gut is linked to better mental clarity and an improved mood. Maybe that's why the Amish always seem so content. They're literally feeding their happiness through their gut. The Amish approach to fermented foods is refreshingly simple. A bit of sauerkraut with potatoes, some pickled beets with dinner, or a small bowl of homemade yogurt as a midday snack. It's not about strict serving sizes or rigid meal plans. These foods are naturally woven into their daily routine. And unlike store-bought options, which often come loaded with preservatives or added sugars, Amish fermented foods are as pure as it gets, just vegetables, salt, and thyme. What's truly beautiful about this practice is its simplicity. Without even realizing it, the Amish have been following one of the most advanced health practices, one that modern science is just beginning to understand. While many of us are only now learning about the importance of the gut-brain connection, the Amish have been nurturing their microbiomes through traditional, homemade fermented foods for generations. But fermented foods are only one piece of the Amish health puzzle. When it comes to the foundation of their diet, they take an equally old-school approach to another daily staple, one that might just put your local bakery to shame. In Amish country, bread isn't just food, it's a way of life. You won't find those bright white loaves of bread that fill supermarket shelves in Amish kitchens. Their motto says it all. The only white flour we know is the kind that makes bread for special occasions. This isn't about jumping on a health trend or chasing the latest diet fad. It's about sticking to what has sustained them for generations. Hearty, wholesome, whole grains that provide the energy and strength their communities rely on every day. For the Amish, bread isn't just a food. It's a staple that fuels their hard-working lifestyle. Made from freshly milled whole grains, their bread is packed with nutrients and fiber, a far cry from the nutrient-depleted loaves many of us are used to. This old-fashioned approach to baking isn't just about tradition. It's a key part of the balanced diet that keeps the Amish healthy, energized, and ready to tackle their daily tasks. The average Amish family's whole grain consumption puts the rest of us to shame. They're not just tossing a handful of oats on their yogurt or opting for brown rice once in a while. They're eating 2 to 3 substantial servings of whole grains every single day. It's a cornerstone of their diet, and it's one of the reasons they stay so strong and energized. Picture starting your morning with a generous bowl of steel-cut oatmeal, 1 to 2 cups, not a dainty portion, topped with a pat of fresh butter, a sprinkle of brown sugar, and maybe a handful of nuts. That's just breakfast. And the Amish are already ahead of most Americans in their whole grain intake for the entire day. But it's not just about oatmeal. Barley makes its way into hearty soups, cornmeal is transformed into perfectly textured breads, and whole wheat is the cornerstone of their daily baking. These aren't the ultra-processed whole grain products with unpronounceable ingredients lining store shelves. We're talking about simple, pure grains, often ground at local mills or even right at home. The science behind this is fascinating. Eating more whole grains has been shown to lower the risk of heart disease by 25%, a built-in heart protection system from something as simple as choosing the right grains. The fiber in whole grains also works wonders for stabilizing blood sugar levels, helping to avoid the energy crashes that send many of us scrambling for a coffee or snack by mid-afternoon. One Amish farmer put it perfectly. "I switched from white to whole wheat bread years ago. With the white stuff, I felt like I was dragging a plow through mud all day. With whole wheat, I can work from sunrise to sunset." It's a testament to how powerful these simple, traditional choices can be in fueling not just their bodies, but their entire way of life. While that might sound like an exaggeration, there's solid science backing up the Amish farmer's experience. Whole grains release their energy slowly, providing a steady stream of fuel instead of the quick spike and crash that refined grains give you. But the benefits don't stop at energy. The fiber in whole grains also feeds those beneficial gut bacteria we talked about earlier. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. Sustained energy and better digestive health from the same food. And let's not forget the nutrients. Whole grains are packed with B vitamins, iron, and magnesium, all of which are stripped away during the refining process that turns grains into white flour. These essential nutrients fuel both body and mind, making whole grains a true powerhouse in the Amish diet. But what's most impressive about the Amish approach to whole grains isn't just what they eat, it's what they pair it with. Speaking of pairings, there's another staple in their diet that might surprise you, especially given all the conflicting advice about dairy products these days. In Amish communities, dairy isn't just something you splash in your morning coffee. It's a cornerstone of daily nutrition, coming straight from the source. As one Amish farmer put it, "The cows here are like family. They get treated better than some people I know." While the rest of us debate oat milk versus almond milk, the Amish are sticking with what has worked for centuries: fresh, Whole dairy products from well-cared-for cows. Their typical dairy consumption would make a modern nutritionist's jaw drop. Milk, cream, butter, cheese, and yogurt aren't just occasional indulgences. They're daily staples that provide both nourishment and flavor in abundance. We're talking about 1 to 2 cups of fresh milk daily. But that's just the start. Their meals frequently include homemade cheese, around 1 to 2 ounces per day, and butter isn't treated as a guilty pleasure. It's a vital part of their cooking, often used by the tablespoon rather than the cautious pat many of us limit ourselves to. What's fascinating is that despite their significant dairy consumption, the Amish rarely experience lactose intolerance. The secret might lie in how they process their dairy. Their homemade butter and cheese, created through traditional fermentation methods, are much easier on the digestive system than mass-produced alternatives. It's like they've unknowingly hacked one of the dairy industry's biggest challenges. Now let's look at the numbers, because they're impressive. Studies show that people who regularly consume dairy are 25% less likely to develop osteoporosis as they age. Considering that the average Amish person remains physically active well into their later years, working on farms, tending gardens, or handling livestock long after most Americans retire, you start to see just how critical this is. Their strong bones aren't just good fortune. They're the result of decades of consistent dairy consumption. But for the Amish, dairy is more than just a source of nutrition. It's part of a larger philosophy about food and health. They're not obsessing over calcium milligrams or worrying about fat percentages. Instead, they view food as fuel for their hard-working lives, embracing natural, whole ingredients without overanalyzing them. It's a simple, time-tested approach that not only sustains their bodies, but also reflects their deep connection to their land, animals, and way of life. Instead, the Amish consume dairy in its most natural form, often within hours of leaving the cow. The milk isn't ultra-pasteurized or homogenized to oblivion. It's just milk, pure and simple. The quality of their dairy products reflects the way they treat their animals. Amish cows graze on grass, spend their days outdoors, and are milked by hand, a stark contrast to the industrial dairy operations that supply most of America's milk. This natural approach results in dairy products that are rich in beneficial nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, compounds linked to better heart health and reduced inflammation. While the Amish would never boast, their dairy consumption might just be one of their best-kept health secrets. Combined with their active lifestyle and other wholesome dietary habits, it lays a foundation for health and vitality that many modern Americans struggle to achieve. But there's another daily food habit the Amish swear by, something small but mighty that fuels their long, active days. While the rest of us rely on expensive energy bars and pre-workout supplements, the Amish keep it simple with a tried-and-true power food, a humble handful of nuts and seeds. As one Amish farmer joked, "You want energy? Try a handful of mixed nuts. No Red Bull required." It's the kind of straightforward wisdom that makes you wonder why we've overcomplicated nutrition so much. In Amish communities, simplicity isn't just a way of life. It's a recipe for enduring health. Nuts and seeds aren't just random snacks for the Amish. They're an intentional part of their daily nutrition. We're not talking about a sprinkle here or there. They consume a substantial amount, roughly a quarter to half a cup every day, often starting with breakfast. Almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, and flax seeds are staples in their diet, and they treat them as essential fuel for their hard-working lifestyle. The way they incorporate these powerhouse foods is brilliantly simple. You'll find them scattered over a hearty bowl of morning oatmeal, mixed into homemade granola, or just eaten by the handful between tasks. Some families even make their own nut butters, spreading them generously on homemade whole-grain bread. It's a far cry from the processed snacks many of us grab when we need a quick energy boost. The science backs up their nutty wisdom. Studies show that regular consumption of nuts and seeds can lower cholesterol levels by 5 to 10% and reduce the risk of heart disease by an impressive 20 to 25%. But that's just the start. These tiny nutritional powerhouses are packed with healthy fats, fiber, protein, and antioxidants. They're essentially nature's multivitamin, conveniently wrapped in a crunchy package. What's particularly clever about the Amish approach is how they use nuts and seeds to sustain their energy during long days of physical work. Unlike the quick spike and crash you get from processed snacks or caffeine, nuts and seeds provide a steady, lasting energy source. It's simple, natural, and effective, a timeless strategy that helps fuel their active way of life without relying on modern gimmicks or shortcuts. Nuts and seeds provide the slow-burning fuel that keeps the Amish energized throughout their long, active days. As one Amish woman put it, "I tried skipping my morning handful of almonds once. By noon, I felt like I was dragging my feet through molasses. Never made that mistake again." Their reliance on these natural powerhouses is a simple but effective strategy. What's fascinating is how the Amish intuitively understand something modern nutrition science is just beginning to explore: the importance of food combinations. They frequently pair nuts and seeds with fresh fruits or add them to fermented foods, creating powerful nutritional synergies. It's not about chasing the latest superfood trend. It's about knowing how different foods work together to keep the body strong and healthy. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Amish nutrition isn't just what they eat, it's what they deliberately avoid. Their approach to food is as much about what they leave out as what they include. And when you hear about the foods they won't touch, it becomes clear why their simple philosophy has kept them healthier than many modern Americans. The Amish take a no-nonsense approach to food choices, summed up by a straightforward philosophy. If it comes in a box with more than 5 ingredients, it probably doesn't belong in the kitchen. While the rest of us are debating which brand of protein bars is better or which frozen dinner is the least unhealthy, the Amish have already made their decision. Processed food simply doesn't count as real food. Their list of avoided foods reads like the contents of a typical American shopping cart. Processed meats? No hot dogs, bacon, or deli meats in sight. Sugary snacks, boxed meals, and anything with artificial additives? Those don't make it past the pantry door. This clear, unwavering philosophy keeps their meals clean, simple, and nourishing. A sharp contrast to the overcomplicated and overprocessed diets so many of us have come to accept as normal. Sugary drinks? You won't find soda or energy drinks in an Amish home. Prepackaged meals? Not a chance. Their approach is refreshingly straightforward. If it wasn't made in a kitchen, it doesn't belong in their bodies. But here's the fascinating part. This isn't about strict rules or deprivation. The Amish don't avoid processed foods because of a trendy diet plan or a health guru's advice. They avoid them because, as one Amish elder put it, "Why would we eat something made in a factory when we can eat something made by nature?" It's just common sense taken to its logical conclusion. And science backs them up. According to the American Heart Association, a diet high in processed foods can increase your risk of heart disease by up to 30%. Think about that for a moment. While many Americans unknowingly increase their heart disease risk with every processed meal, the Amish are naturally protecting their hearts simply by sticking to whole foods. What's particularly interesting is how this approach affects their relationship with food. Without the endless barrage of processed options, they're not trapped in the cycle of cravings and energy crashes that so many Americans experience. Their meals are satisfying because they're made from real, wholesome ingredients, not scientifically engineered combinations of salt, sugar, and fat designed to keep you wanting more. When the Amish do indulge in treats, they're homemade, from scratch, with ingredients you'd actually recognize. A slice of pie made with fresh fruit, butter, and flour is worlds apart from a factory-produced pastry with a list of preservatives longer than your arm. It's this mindful, intentional approach to food that not only keeps them healthy, but also preserves their deep connection to their meals, their community, and the land that sustains them. It's about quality over convenience, substance over shortcuts. One Amish grandmother summed it up perfectly. "We don't need a scientist to tell us what's good for us. Our bodies know the difference between real food and fake food." This simple wisdom, passed down through generations, might explain why the Amish maintain better health outcomes despite having less access to modern healthcare. The beauty of this approach isn't in what they're giving up, it's in what they gain. By avoiding processed foods, they naturally eat more of the nutritious whole foods we've been discussing. Fresh vegetables, fermented foods, whole grains, dairy, nuts, and seeds. It creates a complete circle of nutrition that has served them well for generations. When you step back and look at all these elements together, what they eat and what they avoid, a bigger picture emerges. The Amish way of eating isn't just a diet. It's a key part of a larger lifestyle that's rooted in balance, simplicity, and sustainability. It's not about jumping on trends or chasing the latest superfood. It's about trusting time-tested practices that prioritize nourishment over novelty. The question isn't whether we should all start living exactly like the Amish, but rather what lessons we can take from their time-tested approach to food and apply to our own lives. In a world where health and nutrition often feel overly complicated, maybe there's something profound in their simplicity. After all, sometimes the most effective solutions aren't the newest. They're the ones that have been quietly working all along.